Hello everybody, I am Lucas from LoukasArts, and today we're doing a little more Space Engineers. Today we're looking at a cool map I just kind of made. Recently I was actually watching the television at some old TV shows we had on record. On the TV show, on the TV, no, we're not watching TV shows on a TV, never. So we were just kind of flicking through the channels and we found an old episode of Robot Wars, a really cool TV program. From back in the day, I say. And basically, if you don't know what that is, it's kind of a giant battle arena where robots, made by people who entered the show, they would kind of compete to destroy each other, basically. So they'd be put in this doom arena of deadly doom, and they'd basically be pit up against each other, and they'd be armed with, like, weapons and stuff. And, they would have to, like, battle each other in this, like, deadly pit of destruction and stuff. So I think it was, like, a mainly quite British show for the United Kingdom, because all the people who entered it, as I can recall, were British, and it was hosted by some British people. So I don't know if they had, like, an American version of it, or for anywhere else in the world for that matter. But I know it was here in England, so you English people out there, you'll know what it is, I'm sure. But anyway, let's get on to it. I'm actually in the recent version of Space Engineers that came out literally today as of recording, which, I fell down here. Thank you. Which kind of, it supports modding now. It lets you make satellites. It's really cool, this version. And you can wave. I mean, what would be less awesome than waving at people? So, I'm just going to close that down and go back into first person here and show you around the place and how it all works. So, we have the 4 different corners. We have the green one over here. I believe this is the red one. Yes, the red one. And then we have the blue one. And then finally the yellow one, which is over here. So we have these 4 different areas. I'll show you how to do the cool neon lighting in just a moment. So I'll show you where you start off if I come up here. So everyone would start off on the top of this fantastic little grid here. They'll be able to see down into the arena and see all the doom traps. I'll go over these in, well, just right now. This is a melter. This is like the fire pit thing, which would breathe fire. Basically, it will melt your vehicles. I haven't set it to very high power, so it won't melt them all instantly, and it should make for a slightly longer match than some other kind of arenas. I also tried to make all of the traps in this based off of the Robot Wars traps. However, I didn't get all of them in, like the flippers and stuff. They were pretty difficult to make at some points. So I kind of replaced these with these pads and stuff. But it still all works. So that's that. These are the fire traps. They kind of melt your vehicle. On the sides here we have these ramps which have these grinders behind them. So you can go over this ramp and maybe try to take a shortcut to get away from someone. So let's say you're going over here and someone was chasing you, maybe they had like a giant crusher. So you could go over this ramp and maybe take a shortcut away from someone, maybe with a bigger vehicle. And people with bigger vehicles may not be able to actually get over this as well and maybe get caught on the grinder. So you can sometimes use this to your advantage, but sometimes it will be a big hindrance to you in the battle. So the second smaller platform we have here, these are the locking pads, which look really nice with those blue outlines. Basically these will automatically lock onto your vehicle, so when your vehicle drives over them, they will lock you in place so you cannot move anymore. And basically they have a certain amount of power force. So what I mean by that is, basically when you apply so much force, they will let go of you. So you will just have to continuously try to struggle to get out of their clutches, and then when you eventually start driving enough power, then you will be able to get away. So that's how that works. But moving on to the center trap, which you've all probably seen in the center here, looking very menacing. You're all probably wondering, what does this do? Well, it is a giant grinder pit. I remember in the old TV shows there'd be like a big pit of which your robot would fall down. It would be like there'd be other robots trying to push you into it. I've kind of amped it up by putting grinders in here so you can't just simply escape. Similar to the TV shows, it didn't have grinders in it, but you couldn't escape once you were down there, and I thought maybe if you had thrusters you'd be able to jet yourself out. So that's why I put these grinders in here to really emphasize the doom and destruction. So that is how all of the different traps and things work. I'm actually just going to spawn in a vehicle here, not a very good one, sadly. This was something I made. I might actually just go grab one off the workshop really quickly, because the one I made really doesn't function that well, and it's a little bit destroyed. But yeah, actually I'm gonna go grab one off of the workshop very quickly, and that is where I crashed into the side of this wall. Oh no, I'll repair that while I'm gone. But I'll be back right. So guys, I've actually made my own ship. I didn't bother going to the workshop. As you can see, I have some nifty little tricks up my sleeve. You may notice some of the weapons on here to be quite similar. If I go into F5 mode and click 3, as you can see we have the giant slamming claw. Oh, it's a trademark Robot Wars weapon. We have these which are stabilizers or shovers, if we like. So we can either use these to stabilize ourselves in case we're going to be falled over, or push other people into pits of doom. And to be honest, pits of doom sounds a lot more fun. You will not have to be in first person. In fact, it would be more accurate if you were to actually go into spectator mode. So if I was to come out here and click F8, so now I am in spectator mode. I can fly through stuff like so, and this would actually be more accurate if I was in F8 mode, because this is kind of how this would all work in Robot Wars. You'll be in a stand somewhere, and these would be like remote control vehicles. They wouldn't actually be in them, otherwise, you know, that'd be deadly and not allowed. So I'm gonna hit F9 here, I believe, and I can still drive around, which is very cool. So I guess this will be more accurate, but I don't know if it'd be more fun exactly. Now let's just click F6, I believe, to go back into our ship view. And I'm just going to show you around the place in first person mode and how it will all work. I'm going to show you the power of this thing. It is quite powerful. You see that one locked onto me there, and I'm actually struggling quite a bit to get away. I can't turn at all. I'm going to try and boost here. No, not working. Turn this menu back up now. Am I going into? Yes, I'm going into overload power there, so I'm actually going to quickly add some more generators onto the back here. So now let's try this. You should probably add as many generators as you think you will need. There we go. So now it's working a little better, but you can see it's quite difficult, and you probably have to rely on another robot to try and help shove you out. As you can see here, I have these stabilizers, which kind of help me get out there. Sometimes you can actually kind of trick those platforms into thinking you're not on the area. There's something I'll have to fix there, which is lining them possibly with heavy armor. Oh, and I crashed into something and exploded. How nice. It's not looking great, but I do not know exactly how it exploded there. Well, that was a shame. Well, I can't exactly show you around now, but I really just fell in here. It's because I'm low. But I guess that is it. You may be able to expect me playing this with some friends at a later date, as that'll be quite fun. Maybe I can get our buddy Lordy on board with playing this with me, hopefully. No guarantees, he doesn't even have the game, but I think it'd be a cool game that he would maybe like to play. But there's no guarantees, maybe even Mini Whale, and he hasn't uploaded in quite a while, so it'd be fun to see him play this with us. So guys, that is actually it for today's video. If you did like it, do leave a like. It's very appreciated. And of course, subscribe for more Space Engineers content. Do comment down below on what you'd like to see next time. But of course, guys, there's no one thing left to say, and we know that. Goodbye.